Better Call Saul is the prequel series to Breaking Bad that focuses on the life of Saul Goodman before he became the notorious lawyer of Albuquerque. When Breaking Bad was tense and suspenseful, Better Call Saul took its time to breathe and slowly unveil the story with each episode. When Breaking Bad studies change, Better Call Saul explores the lack of change. The main theme of the series is choice. It tries to convey how people's choices are shaped by their experiences and how these choices can lead them down a certain path. This is mentioned by Mike when he talks about the bad roads. Here, the irony is that we already know where Saul would end up, but we still root for him to stay as Jimmy. In this series, we see all these different characters all ending up on the bad choice road for completely different reasons. This is analyzing how Better Call Saul explores the concept of choice, and you are watching the Man of Movies. We can explore this theme by looking at how different characters get to this place. Firstly, let's look at the protagonist, Jimmy McGill, aka Saul Goodman. Jimmy is introduced to us as a man in recovery, not from substance abuse, but from his own unlawful behaviors. He is trying to change his life around and stay away from the life he once had as Slippin' Jimmy. He tries to live a normal life to please Chuck and Kim, but he cannot truly tame his instincts. He tries to act like he does not find this thrilling and exciting, but it slips in various ways. However, his motive to tame these instincts is shaken by the betrayal he faces from Chuck. Here we see how Jimmy struggles with his identity and cannot seem to fit into the mold society has made for him. This struggle with society ends up with him having to give up social norms and listen solely to his desires. We can see that he is not necessarily doing it for the benefits or the rewards he gets from it. His acts are at best street level scams, which grants him a few $100. Even though he knows that he should not be scamming with his clients to get business or manipulating grandmas to spite someone else, he simply cannot help it. He is someone guided by pleasure and pure instinct. We know that it's not due to desperation. Even when he was given the job at Davis and Maine, he simply cannot be told to stick to rules. Now, this show does recognize how people make bad choices due to desperation as well. If you look at Mike Ehrmantraut, we see someone who gets into the business out of necessity. He was once a corrupt police officer who lost his son. He is a grieving father, and his guilt has overtaken every fiber of his being. He blames himself for his son's death and regrets getting his hands dirty. However, he is pulled back into the game when he starts to understand just how much struggle his granddaughter and his daughter in law are going through. Feeling responsible for their pain and suffering, he offers himself to a life of crime, like a sacrificial sheep. The issue with him is believing that he can control himself. As time passes within the series, he gets affiliated with Gustavo Fring, and he has to get just as dirty as he started out. What is truly sad is that in this time, he does find personal relationships with people like Ziegler and Nacho, but they are taken away. To add to that, by the end of Breaking Bad, we see that his money is taken away as well. His involvement in the world of crime came from regret, but all he left behind is trauma and suffering for those who really matter. Even though guilt and pleasure are great motivators for crime, the greatest inspiration may be revenge. Vengeance is like fire. It is bright, aggressive, and wreaks havoc if left unchecked. We see this area explored with the character of Gustavo Fring. For him, winning is not a matter of achievements or prizes, it is a necessity. He is driven to destroy the cartel that was responsible for taking his partner's life away. His endless love for this man now turned into hate and distaste for the Salamanca family. Through this, he goes on a mission to burn down the cartel, and this leads him down to a path much crueler than that of the cartel, even. For him, we see the pain of loss and the destructive nature of anger. After his revenge was satisfied by the death of the last capable Salamanca, he could have chosen a better route. When he was alone in the bar drinking wine with his friend, we see that he still has some remnants of love and compassion within his heart, but most of it has gone cold in the pursuit of revenge, and he has burned down all other possible roads. He takes his anger and frustration out on the world, and this is where we get the greatest force of evil in the series. This series also explores another character that does what they do due to love. And this might just be the most complex character of the series, Kim Wexler. We are introduced to her as a lawyer working for HHM and the main love interest of Jimmy McGill. She is the only thing for Jimmy to hold on to when it comes to being in touch with society. However, she is caught up in the wave of influence and charm that comes with Saul Goodman. Before long, she starts to find scams and frauds all too exciting, but it is more than just that. It is also about reliving her childhood, and it is a matter of habit. From a young age, her mother would pressure her into taking part in petty scams and tricks. She also, like Jimmy, tries to stay away from this life, but she is not completely able to. In reality, Saul Goodman may, to some extent, be more familiar to her than even Jimmy is. This familiarity helps her find the color in the world of crime. To add to that, she is the only one of the main characters who finds his lifestyle disgusting. However, with strong disgust also comes the guilty pleasure of an acquired taste. She is the only one at the end realizing the amount of disgust she has for herself. The scene where she cries in public, it looks like she is hurting by just being in her own body. It may have been more soothing to crawl out of it and not exist, which we do see at the end where she loses all sense of identity. Through her, we see someone who loses respect for themselves and, in effect, not be able to turn down such pleasures. And lastly, we see Nacho. Nacho is someone who thought that he could handle being in the game but realized all too late that this is not where he belongs. Amongst the aforementioned character, he is the only one that seems to be primarily motivated by fear. He is taking orders from multiple people all at the same time just to survive. He is constantly anxious and breaks down under pressure. He joined the cartel to command respect and have authority, but he regrets the kind of person he has become. Even his plan against the kettleman, he justifies it by saying that criminals have no recourse. However, in my opinion, he was just not someone with the coldness that was required for this life. For someone who wanted respect and power, he died knowing nothing but fear. He was even afraid of dealing with the consequences of his own actions when his father asked him to surrender to the police. The tragic thing is that, at any point, if he had just faced his fear, he may have still been alive. He shows us the consequences that come from a fear of change and the real danger we might put on ourselves when taking wrong decisions. And his decisions led to him being shackled in his own life. Throughout the series, we see the motivations and circumstances that led to their choices. What we also see is that their life at one point was filled with potential. All the roads they could have taken slowly shutting down before them as they make one mistake over another. The opportunity to change, although present, might not be everlasting. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.